all those that have been serving overseas. There's a one-time, and then there's the subsequent bonuses that they file in for too. There's also Vietnam bonuses that people don't realize. There's a lot of people out there that still haven't claimed their Vietnam bonus, or as well as their World War II bonuses. And then we've got the other one that just came about not within this past year. It was a stop-loss pay bonus that the state's that has. It's a $500 bonus for each month if they were, after 2001, if they were due to separate or retire and they were held after the 9/11 events, against, due to the situation at hand, they will pay them back the $500 a month for each month that they were held and retained into the military. Then there's the assisted living, helping people get into the seniors get into the assisted living as well as nursing home situations. We're up to maintaining the veterans memorials that are required to keep the integrity of the memorials throughout the town. And there's the events that we're dealing with for Veterans Day, which we're trying to increase the community awareness of that. So Veterans Day, Memorial Day events. This year we're actually going to be putting on a 9/11 event over at Ipswich River Park. And I'm working heavily with getting every branch of the service represented over there. Senators, state representatives, entertainment. I'm working with the Parks and Recs Department on that, so we're coordinating together on that. So we're getting the police department, fire department are on board. They're gonna be working with us on all that. So that's anticipated to be at least a 7-day, 7-hour activity for that. And then we're doing social functioning for the veterans too, which has been a huge success. They really enjoy it, and they're coming into the office constantly asking when the next one is. So we're gonna be doing one in the spring and again one in the fall. This year, we decided that the 9/11 will take care of the fall event because it'll be cutting it too close. So we're gonna do one in May, and then we'll have the September 11 event.
Susan, the big item on your budget here between level funded and level services is the veterans benefits.
Yes.
And obviously, as you've explained, and based on your workload, that there's, clearly a need for additional benefits now.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get reimbursed for these benefits?
Absolutely. Right now, currently, and this was at the time when I put this together in January, currently we're anticipating a dispersing of $46,4250 in the ordinary benefits, and then there's a fuel assistance that's $25.38 per month for a total of $86,166. The insurance premiums, they've all gone up, so there was an anticipation of about 10% on that, and with the Medicare Part B totaling $24.39, with prescriptions are roughly around in the $350. And again, that's just what I've got on the rolls right now. It fluctuates. Sometimes they're adding on more prescriptions, so that can fluctuate from month to month.
So is that roughly 75%, 50%? What do we get for reimbursement?
75%.
It's 75%.
So what I'm anticipating, I should say, is 122, the 122,822 totaling of what we expected to be dispersing out from our end, but your reimbursement would be about a little over 92,000. So in actuality, the town would only be dispersing out a little over 30,000.
Yeah, 30,705.
So-
Yeah, and it comes out every quarter.
So how do we budget this, Greg?
What's that?
How do we
We start-
budget this then?
We will similar to tax title. This is one of the accounts that we're gonna have to watch going forward. We have a legal obligation to pay once Susan determines
right.
eligibility. And so, in the past, we've level funded certain budgets, but veterans benefits is treated differently than other budgets, and we'll accommodate the request.
Okay, I guess I need to understand something. This is the town share, the 25% of the total benefit?
No, this is the 100%.
That's the 100%.
We have to
Right.
pay it.
So out of that 122,
Right, so we have
it's
to
only 30
budget.
grand.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
But we have to pay for everything up front, and then we get reimbursed. Like,
Right.
So we
Kinda
handle
like-
like the Quinn bill, essentially.
Does that reimbursement come in the
Or
fiscal
the
year?
FEMA funds.
Or the FEMA funds, right.
Quarterly,
Quarterly.
yeah. And they're actually, from the last conference I went to, they're trying to tighten up the budget into a 6-month instead of, over the year, it'll be a 6-month. The only problem with that is we can't go back and fix anything. So if you're looking at,
Just like the
in
FEMA.
that respect, you're always getting a quarterly payment in. Some of the VS, a lot of them are not too keen on that, because it doesn't give you any extra time to any more play in there if they could cut, they break it into a 6-month
This,
gap.
this isn't treated as like a revolving account, is it?
No.
You know, so there's a definite lag time between the services that we provide, that we pay for, and when we get reimbursed. And does it cross fiscal years?
Yes.
You know, so that actually, in this particular case, this upcoming fiscal year, we can be caught short, you know, close to $50,000 short if we don't budget the money.
Right,
So we need to budget
the expenditure up front.
upfront, and then the following fiscal year
The
get,
money goes into the general fund when it comes in, it goes right into the general fund.
Well, is this a case where it shows up as an offset on the revenue plan? Or is this a case where
No, not
it
at all.
goes right into the
Just
general fund
It goes right into the general fund,
and,
because that's,
so it turns into free cash?
it turns into free
Don't,
cash.
don't we show it as a, isn't it a state revenue when we do our cherry sheet listing? Is it listed as a revenue source at that time?
No, that comes in separate.
Okay.
Greg, I think we should take a look at how
Yeah, I
we
agree.
handle the financing of that.
I agree.
It's not your issue.
I understand exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. I think we need to.
So we don't get caught short.
Yeah.
Right.
The Commonwealth is notorious for lagging behind on the payments.
Right, and it would appear as though if it's coming in as a reimbursement into the general fund, it's the following fiscal year, so
Right.
again, we need an additional $50,000 this year to
Mhm.
meet our anticipated obligation, and it won't be until the following fiscal year when we get it in the form of,
If that
There should be a better way of doing it.
If the 122, I mean, it just went up, it's never been that high, so.
Well, but the vets have come to the finance committee.
For transfer.
Fund transfer.
Mhm.
Right.
When they have had, veterans come into the system that needed, more support than the original left.
Right, but if you look what we
Yeah,
spent in
75%,
2010, we spent 76.
77.
yeah, close to 77.
77, so 122, is that a worst-case scenario, or is that dead accurate?
That's what I had right now on my rolls. But like I was explaining to you, you're gonna be looking at for an example, that $1,000 insurance payment that I'm paying now is gonna be going away at some point, because I got the Mass Health, I'm working on getting him onto his Mass Health. So eventually that'll go away, so, and then it's somebody that, there are cases that I may be able to get them their VA comp earlier, or get them on Social Security earlier, that could alleviate some of that as well. I just add one of the ones that is included in that, I just recently got him onto Social Security, so it just alleviated about a little $400 a month on that one as well, so.
So you're really only talking about $11,000 difference from what we spent in 2010 to what she's projecting to spend.
We spent 77.
No,
No,
but our,
That's the net.
but the
Well,
net.
That's the net, but
The net.
but the problem is,
Problem
no,
is
I
the
understand
gross
the
the
net.
problem is we have to come up with the
I know.
100%
No, we
upfront.
have to front it.
And you don't get, they get that netted out until the following fiscal year.
Well,
So-
it's an obligation we have, and I think we just have to take a look at how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe modify the way we do it.
$50,000 increase from the level funded to
Yeah.
level service, and
That's what we have to come up
that's
with.
what,
And what we don't do is when it comes into the general fund, we don't reallocate it to veteran services, which is what we need to start looking at.
So that's a $46,800 delta between level funded and what's
And that was the
needed.
reason why I gave you a little bit of a kind of an idea of what, because we do, that is something I have to do, constant research and try to find other ways, other sources to fund, to try to alleviate that as much as I
No,
can,
based
so.
on your description of all the things you're doing, you weren't doing these things, we'd be paying more,
Right,
perhaps.
right.
I think it's amazing the work that you're doing. You're a department of one, right?
Yeah.
You're a department of one. It's just amazing how much work you're doing in that department. And it's a service that we should provide and it's necessary. And that's what these guys and
So
women
again-
deserve when they come back home.
Thank you.
This is another department that we have to do level services as opposed to.
That's right.
Right. Yep.
Same as tax title.
Right. But that's a $50,000.
It's a big deal.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Sean is correct. The services you do for our veterans must be a labor of love as well, so.
It is.
And they deserve it. Sometimes it's just important to understand the numbers. This happens every year, correct? I mean, you over budget, not over budget, that's the wrong term. You have to anticipate what your real numbers are going to be, and then we get our
But
reimbursement.
it looks like a variable to some degree.
I mean,
Well, in 2010, it was a $19,000 revised, and then it went back down. So it does fluctuate, I'm sure.
yeah, Jeff, what we've done is gone to the finance committee at the end of the fiscal year, if there's a shortfall, and gone to them. It's been a pretty common practice in the last 4 or 5 years, even predating Susan. So,
Thank you.
Okay, well, any other questions?
So I don't know if that shows up. I mean, for example, when you look at, I just turned the page, one year where it was 70-something and versus 90. I don't know. I don't know how the finance reserve on transfers
I think
show.
Mr. Tassoni's gonna explain that.
It was never 90.
Yeah, I
We
never
thought
say 90.
we turned back the difference between 90 and 76. So we turned back about $13,000 in
Mhm.
2010,
So it looks like,
because it was,
That's the way I read it, but I would
Right.
think there were prior years where,
see, we asked for too much was asked for on the revised budget in 2010. And I just want to be sure that that's not happening in 2012. That's my concern.
sounds like, based upon her FY11 numbers, that it probably won't be.
Right.
Well, although you just said from the time this was published to now, you were able to get one veteran onto Social Security, and the difference is $400, so that's $4,800.
Yeah, and then there'll be another one with
Right.
$1,000 a month, so that's where the fluctuate. But then there's,
But there's someone else
But
coming
you don't
on.
know,
Coming on.
right.
Someone else
I
walking
think
through the
it's-
door.
exactly.
I think you're going to see
Exactly.
more of that than
Exactly.
people going off.
Yes, sir.
Dick Johnson, and I work with the Finance Committee and liaison with the veterans. And most years, it has been fairly accurate as to what they've projected. I think that 90,000 was unusual. But the other question actually probably relates to Joe and Joe's work. Do we show, and I think the question was asked a minute ago, but I wasn't quite sure, whether we estimate any of the funds expected? Because when we go into the year, we must know we're due anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 from the state at the time we're doing the budget. And we must know those, I would presume we get notification to Susan's office that the claim has been approved if it hasn't been paid. So we have a set figure as to how much money we might receive during the following fiscal year. Maybe we expect more, but we have a certain amount that we know that is due to us.
That's why I've asked for a review of how we're budgeting.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
we
at
agree.
least like to see us included in our revenue expectations.
Agreed, Dick.
What I could put together if
It's
works
actually-
is,
It's actually just the way we're handling it.
oh, okay,
It's just
Not
internal.
you.
okay.
Not looking to give you more to do.
Okay, any other questions for,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
thank you, Susan.
Nice job.
Next group,
Conservation.
Conservation Commission. Anyone here from the Conservation Commission?
Zero that out.
Anyone here from the Hillview Commission?
Yeah, Peter,
Yes,
Mr.
sir,
Hemming.
Peter, excellent. Guess by default, you're up.
It's always good news when you get taken early.
You need to read this. Steve, you read?
What number, Mr. Secretary?
Pass
two.
this down there.
Oh, no. Yes, to the number, right? To the key.
So our
Give us a
newest
second.
member gets to come before us, is that?
Shot straw.
That's correct.